Hi guys, it's Ryan, the Tokyo Fun Hunter. Just wanted to give some tips and tricks for living in Japan. This is, I kind of made a list. This is for people that, are new to Japan. This is not for people who have been here for a long time. Hey, you might learn something new. But usually it's for people who first get to Japan who are like, kind of culture shock, kind of ease into that lifestyle. So I have a list here basically of a few things that, that caught me off guard when I first moved here to Japan. Something that might help ease the culture shock. So kind of number one is trash cans and convenience stores. Number one thing with trash, there's not really any trash cans in the public areas. It's like you really got to go to a restaurant or a convenience store or your own house to throw it away. So if you have you're drinking like a bottle of water, you're going to be holding on to that bottle of water until you find like a convenience store. There's just no really public trash system here in Tokyo or Japan. It doesn't exist, and they're very, very particular on sorting their recycling and garbage. They actually have, back in the U.S., we have recycling and trash. And here, it's like they have ones for plastic bottles, they have one for glass bottles, they have one for non-burnables, and they have one for burnables. So there's 4 whole trash types. That's a big shocker, and it took me a while to get used to it. But it's very effective, and it's not too hard to wrap your head around. Another one is convenience stores. Convenience stores, they actually are really convenient here in Japan. Back in the U.S., we have 7-Eleven, AM, PM, stuff like that. Here in Japan, you can do everything at the convenience store. They have ATMs. They can do the postal service. You can send packages. It has stationery there. It has, the food, and you can buy drinks. You can buy beer, all that stuff. But it really is a convenient area, and they're on every single street corner in Japan. I kid you not. It's a pretty impressive way of doing things. A little bit funny. Basically, there's no such thing as peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I don't know why. Peanut butter, they have to import and export everything here in Tokyo, except rice. So, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I made that once on a date, just as let's watch some TV and do some, or watch a movie together. And the girl freaked out. It was like she'd never heard of the thing. So that's like actually one of the little funny part where, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are not really heard of here in Japan. Another big one on the more serious side of things is social lifestyle. So social lifestyle, the social lifestyle maybe in California, and I'm not saying the whole world, but you can really kind of like talk to people very easily. It's not as hard to strike up a conversation. And there's an artistic form to it. Here in Tokyo, you really got to know somebody in order to be introduced to their friends. It's not that, it's a little bit harder to really develop a whole social circle. You have to really, also spend money to do so. Going out, getting around. You got to be introduced by certain people. Now, the biggest thing that's kind of hit Japan recently, we're in the digital age and everything. So a lot of people have been meeting up online. And, a really good website to check out is meetup.com. Those are tons of groups where it goes from cooking to martial arts, outdoor activities, and people get together for the purpose of just meeting new people. A lot of people want to expand their social circles. And now it's really done online, as well as kind of the initial online and then meeting in real life as a group. It's never like a one-on-one thing. Usually that's more of a dating sequence. Otherwise it's a lot harder for you to approach people at bars or cafes. They might act the way, but they're not really going to call you. You really got to be introduced by their friends for verification. Another big thing in Tokyo, a big shocker, is the English versus Japanese. A lot of people believe you need to know Japanese in order to live here. And, I hate to break it to you guys, it's not that much needed. A lot of people come here just with English. They never open a textbook. Now, I'm talking about Tokyo. Tokyo, everything's subtitled in English, and it's very easy to get around in just English formats. And there's tons of people who speak English in Tokyo. It is an international hub. It's an international city. So a lot of people do speak English within Tokyo. If you go outside of Tokyo, yes, now we're talking just Japanese. There's not that many people. I went to study abroad in Yamanashi-ken, which is at the foot of Mount Fuji, nobody spoke English. Nobody whatsoever. You go to Tokyo, it was like half the people. So if you're going to live in Tokyo, you don't need to meet... I've met people who have lived here who are, foreigners from Canada or Australia who have lived here for decades. And it's kind of a shame, but my Japanese is better than theirs, and I've only been here 2 years. I do practice, of course, but it's not a necessity. And I strongly recommend you do go for Japanese, but it's not a necessity. You can get by on just English. And a lot of people, if you're thinking about doing English teaching, you only need really English. But learning Japanese, I'll put this out there, it is very rewarding. It's very mind-blowing, and it's very good for socializing. Another big, something that might be unexpected is the size of everything. I mean everything, the cars, the apartments, the food, everything is in smaller portions. The streets are just smaller than what you're used to. The cars are smaller, the apartments are a lot smaller. Toilets, laundry machines, the vacuums are like, everything is made to fit into a smaller lifestyle. I mean, I know, let's not to stereotype, but Japanese people are a little bit smaller than maybe Americans or Europeans. And basically a lot of the stuff is smaller. I think about cars. One of the biggest things that I was surprised about the cars is everybody drives on the left side of the road. That's something that you don't really hear about. You kind of associate with kind of more United Kingdom when that comes to mind. But actually in Japan they do that. They're on the left side of the road, and all the cars are the same style, kind of box cars, and they're made so they can fit into small areas. The parking lots here are not huge, and it's very rare that you own a car. A lot of people use the public transportation system. But yeah, the size of everything, even for meals, usually I have to order 2 meals because it's just, I have a healthy, large appetite. The size of everything is very, very smaller. Next kind of topic is careers. One of the most unexpected things about living in Japan with career-wise. I had this on a previous post earlier, but careers... the thought process of careers is, basically, I'll be average. Salaryman lifestyle, you are working 60 to 70 hours a week. Now, there's other ways to, you don't have to do that. I kind of posted a little bit about, you don't have to follow that formula. I don't follow that formula. I have better things to do. And I'll, work smart, not hard. But the usual career standards are that you are dedicated to a company. It's a one-time company. You're there for decades, working up the ladders, and you are basically living in a single apartment, working the salaryman lifestyle to get to get success in your lifestyle. But careers in Japan for foreigners, usually the most common one is English teaching. There are ones that deal with IT or the headhunting industry, which is a big one. And there's a bunch of them, but the most common one is English teaching. And I kind of want to specify that, one of the most unexpected things is a lot of people come over here thinking, it's going to be, great and fun, and it can be very rewarding, but you will be dealing with more children. It's very hard to kind of get the adult teaching courses. So if you're cool with children and you love kids, go for it. It's an amazing experience. If you're not a big kid lover, I would recommend maybe looking at the other options that when it comes to careers in Japan. And the last thing that I want to say, and I mean, if you have any other questions, please comment below. I try to read all the comments and answer any questions I can. Obviously I'm not touching on every single thing, but this is just some good hints and tips for living in Japan. And one of the biggest ones is kind of the, Japanese cultural mindset. And I want to emphasize public lifestyle versus private lifestyle. This is kind of getting a little bit deeper when you're making friends and socializing and getting to know people, and especially in workplace or anything. Many Japanese will show you their public personality, I kind of want to say. It's not really how they might be thinking. And the essential thing is, the biggest idea around that is the idea of wa, which means harmony. They always want to have harmony. If there's ever something that causes, disharmony, they try to correct it. So they're always having a harmonious feeling. And there's a whole culture when it comes to business in Japan, living in Japan, living with families in Japan, living in a community, the country, everything has to do with wa. And people will show you their public, personality, and they'll always be complimented. They'll always be nice. I've never met somebody who's openly, aggressive or angry until you get to know their personality. And to be honest, that's going to take a while. In California, from where I'm from, we don't really have so much. It's not like a clear-cut public figure and private personality. It's pretty much like you're pretty much yourself all the time. Maybe there's a few exceptions, but here it's a really clear-cut one person you might know outside. You have to really be in their inner circle of friends. And to be honest, if you're a foreigner, that could be very, very difficult. I have tons of friends. I have tons of Japanese friends, but I honestly, it takes me months or years sometimes to really get inside what their real thoughts are. What are they really thinking? How are their emotions? How do they feel about the world, their dreams, desires? How do they feel about you as a person? It might take a long time to kind of really get to know that person. To be honest, I have, a lot of acquaintances, tons of acquaintances, and a really good amount of friends. But I would say only, out of everybody I've known, it may be only 5 or 6 people that I've really gotten to really know their innermost feelings. It just takes a long time. So they really have and they only share that with a few people. Maybe their partner, their lover, their maybe 1 or 2 family members, and maybe 1 or 2 friends. It's not a big circle. So I'm just letting you know that really building relationships, it's a slower process. It's gonna take more time. Now I know there's a bunch of other stuff that I could talk about. I'm gonna do a series of these, but I hope this helps. And I hope if you ever consider coming to Japan, hey, drop me a line. Love to meet up and love to discuss some of this material with you. All right, guys. Have a great day. Cheers.